Okay, now it's 7:30. We'll call the Economic Development Authority meeting to order. And we'll start with roll call.
Bevins?
Here.
Beezer?
Here.
Kirsch? Here. O'Day?
Here.
Yeager?
Yes.
And Johnson.
Here. Then we'll look for an approval of the agenda.
So moved, Kelly. Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the agenda. Any discussion?
I do.
Oh, we have discussion. Tony.
I just have a question. Did we receive an update from Bladek? I didn't see anything in my packet. The answer is no.
We did not.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for that, Tony. We will note that we did not receive an update from Bladek. Any other discussion on the approval of the agenda? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up is the consent calendar. All matters listed are considered routine by the commission and will all be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless good cause is shown prior to the time the commission votes on the motion to be adopted by roll call.
Move to adopt the consent calendar.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote by roll call.
Bevins?
Yes.
Beezer?
Yes.
Kirsch? Yes. O'Day?
Yes.
Yeager?
Yes.
And Johnson.
Yes, that motion carries. That brings us to item 5, new business. 5A, consider the 2023 EDA preliminary levy request. Connie?
So it's that time of year again when we have to adopt our preliminary levy. City Council needs to adopt by September 30th. And so what we need to include at this point is the EDA's request. Historically, the EDA has requested the maximum allowed by state statute. And for 2023, this amount would be $152,861, which is up about $7,000 from 2022. What we're looking for right now is that, excuse me, just a recommendation for the preliminary tax levy. How we spend that budget can be decided at future meetings.
So we're looking for a motion to,
So moved, Bevins, 1.01813 of the previous year's estimated market value of
Second.
152,861.
Second.
we have a motion and a second to request our preliminary levy. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. Next up on the agenda is 5B, discussion on the 2023 consultant services agreements. Is that Jennifer?
It is. Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. As you know, last year we did RFPs for consultants for economic development services for the EDA. The EDA selected the City of Brainerd, Bladek, DDBC, Swanson Hascamp, and Visit Brainerd to perform services on their behalf. Those agreements end at the end of 2022. And so the discussion we'd like to have with the EDA is what you would like to do for 2023. Since these agreements have only been in place right now for about 7 or 8 months, our recommendation would be just to continue these agreements if Visit Brainerd, Swanson Hascamp, DDBC and Bladek are interested in continuing to do that, and then we would just ask you to authorize staff to renegotiate those agreements. There may be some items that the EDA would like to see in those agreements for 2023. Maybe there's some different items that you would like these organizations to be working on, but at least at this point, we wanted to get some direction as to whether or not you wanted us to go out again for RFPs, or else if you wanted us to negotiate with these organizations to continue another year. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. So yeah, I guess what I'm looking for is a motion to move forward with the same organizations. We can't really analyze how well we've done over the 1-year contract because we haven't been working with all of these groups for a
So
whole
moved,
year.
Bevins. Second.
We have a motion and a second to authorize staff to negotiate extensions with Bladek, City of Brainerd, DDBC, Swanson Hascamp, and Visit Brainerd. Is there any discussion?
Are we going to have create a subcommittee to just go over the updated 2023 contracts to see if there's once the city has made some recommendations?
Would you like to create a subcommittee? We can do that. We have that.
There's only 4 of us. I think we don't need a committee.
Well, just to meet after, like, just to go through it, I think it would be a good, to just glance at it.
Either that, or we could just have the new negotiated contracts sent to us and review them each before our next meeting and discuss it at the regular EDA.
Either
Yeah,
is fine.
I think it would be easiest,
Either is
Tony, to
fine.
not even have the subcommittee because the negotiated agreements, extensions for one more year are going to be very similar in scope as the current agreements, I imagine.
Yep, as long as we get enough advance notice of the updated contracts, I'm fine with that.
Mr. Chair?
Yep.
And I think, we have 4 months to be able to negotiate that. We just wanted to make sure that this was what the EDA wanted to do. If you did want to do RFPs, that gave us time to get those out. But if you want to consider just extending the contracts, that gives us a good amount of time to be able to go back to those organizations and discuss what things they would recommend doing in the upcoming year, bring those to you at a future meeting, and then just make sure those agreements are in place by December.
Thank you. Marie?
So just to clarify, by renegotiating the contracts, then are we awarding additional funding to these organizations to continue work into the next year? Or are they operating under the same budget we set or the money we allocated to them in the initial contract?
My interpretation of it, Marie, is where the contracts are in 2022 is kind of the starting point of the negotiations of what the contracts look like in 2023. So it'd be an additional $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 if that's what you received in 2022. Plus, there is potentially, $8,000 more in our budget that there could be a little more or less in each contract. But I imagine they would all look pretty similar in 23 as they did in 22.
Okay. I guess just some of the contracts were like for specific deliverables, so we would expect that we'd receive those deliverables and assess whether it was, answering our questions, all that. And then there's some parts of the contracts that are like ongoing services. So I guess it makes sense to extend contracts for those kind of ongoing services. But I guess, I don't know. I just like to see more of a breakdown of when we're extending the contracts. Yeah, what is that doing?
And I think, Mr. Chair, too, and I love the EDA's comments, and we will have this on the September or October agenda as well. But these organizations have been doing the work kind of out there, boots on the ground, and I think they may have some ideas or recommendations for the EDA of what they think could benefit the EDA in 2023. You as a board may also have some things that you would like to see these organizations doing on your behalf. So my thought was, August, September, we would reach out to the organizations, get a list, and bring that back, and then see if you guys have any additional items you would like to see added, and then negotiate the price for that, bring that back to the EDA for consideration.
All right, we have a motion and a second to authorize staff to negotiate agreement extensions with the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 organizations we work with to perform services for us. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, we'll vote. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. I'm going to make an executive decision here and swap commissioners' comments with staff reports. We're going to go to staff reports, city administrator.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. A few updates for you. Yesterday, Eric, James, and I met with the developer who is considering purchasing the Thrifty White building. I'm happy to report that they do have a closing date scheduled for August 22nd. That continues to move forward. They are looking at a market rate building, potentially up to 75 units. So we continue to work with them. They're looking at a variety of different funding sources that could help make this project work. So getting closer and closer and closer. Yesterday, we also had a River to Rail meeting. Talked a lot about the Deed Main Street Revitalization Program, but then spent time giving updates. One of the updates that really jumped out at me yesterday was that the YMCA did apply for congressional appropriations. And so they are one of 50 in the state that Senator Smith and Senator Klobuchar are supporting. So stay tuned on that. Potentially they'll get some additional congressional money for their child care facility. We also received building plans from BCV for the cryptocurrency buildings. They are at the Community Development Department right now. I believe that they're going to be reviewing those probably starting tomorrow. It might take a week or two for them to review those building plans. So that is in the works. I'm happy to report that we did finally get them. So we're hoping that we're on track, that that will be on your agenda in September. We also continue to negotiate the lease with Region 5 for the annex. We have a draft. Region 5 has made comments on that lease itself, and now that's in the city attorney's hands. So we continue to kind of negotiate back and forth with that lease. Another exciting project that would be great to see at the annex. Then maybe since Bladek isn't here, I can provide an update on the Deed Main Street Revitalization Grant Program. It is open, taking applications through September 5th. Bladek reported yesterday that they've only received one application so far. Not all that surprising. I think a lot of people tend to submit those in the last week. I know I've had several inquiries. Hopefully you guys are having inquiries as well. Please spread the word. I'm on Community Focus on Monday, so I'll be spending a good deal of time at Community Focus talking about this. Also visit Brainerd developed marketing materials. They are loud and jump out at you. It is great. It is bright yellow. If somebody, with a megaphone, if somebody misses it, I'll be surprised. Those will be going out potentially next week. So we've shared some Facebook posts. Bladek said yesterday that it was the most activity they've seen on their social media account. So I think that's exciting. Continue to try to get the word out about that program. So September 5th, anybody you know who's interested in applying, please encourage them to apply. I think last but not least, Mississippi Landing Trailhead Park, just because I think it stimulates economic development activity. It is really coming along. I went there yesterday and walked around. If you haven't had the opportunity to just go take a peek, go to the North Star, you can see it from above. Part of the outlook is in already. The amphitheater is in progress. They have the foundation poured for the Learning Center, and I believe they're going to start working on the restrooms today. So it's really starting to look like a park. Pretty exciting. And that's it, unless there are any questions of me.
Any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to the HRA Director Report. Eric.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. As Administrator Bergman noted, we did sit down with that proposed developer for that redevelopment project in downtown. We are hoping that they might be able to take advantage of our Crow Wing County Housing Trust Fund. There are some dollars there that can help with that development if that moves forward. So very excited for the possibility, excited for the increase in housing units that they are proposing at this point as well. If you recall, we had been talking in the 50 to 55 range, so that's a significant jump, and they hope that that might make that pencil out a little bit better. Obviously, more units leads to less cost, and if they are potentially utilizing our Housing Trust Fund, there will be some parameters there as well for workforce type style housing. So very excited, still market rate, but maybe some affordability in some of those units. So stay tuned. We'll certainly hope to see some movement on that in the next month to 2 months. And this, I would say, is the closest we've been to seeing some major movement on that. Continuing to work with a couple of, a builder developer on tax forfeited lots. 3 parcels will lead to 2 lots, or to 2 builds in the city of Brainerd. We have been waiting for some guidance from the city of Brainerd's attorney on an outstanding assessment that finally did get answered for us. So I believe that builder will be coming in front of city, potentially PNF, and then to the council for assessment chatting to see what they can work out with the city council on that. But we do anticipate that moving forward sometime in September, I would hope. And once that sale hopefully goes through, they will pull permits within 12 months to get 2 new single-family infill homes on properties that were blighted and torn down by the county. So again, really good things there. In speaking with Chair Johnson, there are a couple properties, one in southeast, one in northeast, that we're looking to see if we can get some movement from the owners on that. They are rundown properties, so reaching out the best way that we can. And in this case, one of them is just by mail. Hopefully we can get some movement or at least a response from those homeowners to see if there's something that we could do to urge them to either rehab or maybe sell. Just look at options. And certainly appreciate any feedback that as you guys are out in the community and if you see properties that maybe you think could use a little nudge, please let us know. We're happy to follow up on that the best that we can. And, you know, at the end of the day, we do have funds available if people want to rehab those units. If they're tear downs, then we can see if there are any other options that are viable for us. That's about all that I have. I'll let John chat about rehab and our Oaks and Serene Pines projects and wrap it up if you've got any questions.
Thanks, Chair Johnson, members of the board. If you've been out through Oaks, there's a lot going on out there yet. You had about 9 of them in progress. Last time I was out there, he's working on 3 more up in Serene Pines, Dalmar Estates. He has 3 completed and sold to end buyers, so definitely moving forward there. We do continue to pursue rehab throughout the city, most recently with the Housing Trust Fund. We're working with a couple of homeowners to kind of get them through to that closed loan stage. We haven't quite made it yet, but we do have some MHFA loans that are going on right over here in South Brainerd, so we are using those funds as well to help improve the areas. So any questions for me on any of that stuff?
Any questions to the HRA on either Eric or John?
Thank you.
Nope, thanks, John. Thanks, Eric. That brings us back to number 6, commissioners' comments, questions. Commissioner O'Day,
Nothing to add this morning.
Commissioner Yeager,
Nothing to add, thank you.
Commissioner Beazer,
Mr. Beazer?
Commissioner.
Oh, okay. Nothing. Thank you.
Nothing to add.
Nothing here either. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Bevins.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion carries. We're adjourned. Everybody take care until next month.